Hi everybody, welcome back to English for You. I'm Pat.
And I'm Mike.
And we're on the second day of our article about the many hues of blue. Yesterday we learned that some ancient people's language didn't include many words for blue. Certainly not as many as we have now, and maybe even none at all.
That's right. The famous author Homer, thousands of years ago, described seawater, which we would think of as being blue, as being wine dark. Wine is not blue, but they didn't really have as much blue back then, so they didn't have a special name for this color. But that kind of changed with the ancient Egyptians, at least in that part of the world. We learned yesterday also the ancient Egyptians first created a blue dye out of minerals, out of using rocks and stones. They created a blue dye. They could color things, but of course, making things out of stones and minerals is not easy, so this was a very rare color, and it was only used for important things like painting tombs of the pharaohs, the kings. I think if you think of Tutankhamun, that famous mask.
He's got blue, hasn't he?
It's blue and gold, isn't it? I think around his hair, his face, it's all blue and gold.
So what they couldn't do was use a blue stone called lapis lazuli or lazuli, maybe, to make this bright blue paint that was later called ultramarine, which was seen in these Afghan paintings in the 6th century.
Right.
And this was a rare paint and very valuable, and it wasn't until only relatively recently everybody could use it.
That's right. Still valuable, still rare, made with a special stone, but then in 1826, using much more modern chemistry and science, a Frenchman made a synthetic blue paint, basically the same color as this natural ultramarine blue, but using chemicals. They can make it in a factory, they can make lots of it. So suddenly people had blue clothes and they could use blue in their homes for paint and things like that. And this type of blue, this ultramarine, has been a very popular color ever since then. You guys might even have something ultramarine in your cupboard at home. It's a beautiful bright shade of blue.
We're going to learn more in today's article. Let's read through day 2.
Reading. Exploring the many hues of blue. Ultramarine and Egyptian blue aren't the only blue hues out there. Artists and color fans have developed many other varieties of blue over the years. One of the most popular kinds of blue is navy blue. This very dark blue is made with indigo dye and became the official color of the British Royal Navy in 1748. Indigo is one of the richest and least expensive blue dyes and is used for fabric goods all over the world. Two other marvelous blue paints, cobalt blue and cerulean, became popular with Western painters in the 19th and 20th centuries. Cobalt blue has been used for over 1,000 years, though, especially in China. People there painted ceramics and jewelry with it. A Swiss dye maker created Prussian blue by accident around 1706. It became useful for blueprints and was used by artists like Katsushika Hokusai and Pablo Picasso. Today, it's also a medicine that remedies metal poisoning. New blues are still being encountered today. The latest is Yinmin blue, a bright pigment discovered in 2009. Crayola has even made it a crayon color. With all these vibrant blues out there, we have endless ways to show our love for everything blue.
All right, so we've been talking about blue, of course, and we specifically focused yesterday on two shades or hues of blue, ultramarine and Egyptian blue, right? We learned the history of these two fantastic forms or hues of blue. But as the article today begins, we learn ultramarine and Egyptian blue aren't the only blue hues out there. In other words, there are many other kinds of blue in the world.
Yes, it says artists and color fans have developed many other varieties of blue over the years. So to develop something means to create something, but we tend to think of it as a slow kind of creation or changing over time. You don't just go, I've made it, that's done. That would be creation, but not quite development. Development would be maybe trying a few things, mixing other paints, seeing what works, seeing what gets the best kind of color, and it would be a slow kind of change to get to what you want over time. We could say, for example, rock and roll developed out of rhythm and blues, that's another blues, and country music styles.
Yeah.
And this resulted in many varieties of blue.
That's right. As Pat mentioned, rock and roll is a variety of music. So when we think of something that comes in many styles and forms, something like music, when we talk about types of music, classical music, jazz, hip-hop, pop, dance, these are different varieties of music. We use this to kind of take a big subject, something that does come in many styles and many forms, and break it down so we can talk about them and understand them and compare them. Another simple one, go to the ice cream store. Do they just have one kind of ice cream, just chocolate or just vanilla? No, of course not. They have many varieties. Strawberry, blueberry, mint and chocolate, all of these different kinds of ice cream are different varieties or types of ice cream. For example, pita is a variety of bread that comes from Greece, and it's delicious. So while Egyptian blue and ultramarine are beautiful varieties of blue, I think these days, if you looked at most people's clothes, they wouldn't be the most common style or hue or variety of blue out there.
No, we've got one here. One of the most popular kinds of blue is navy blue, which I think was the color of my school blazer.
Yes, a lot of school uniforms, business suits, things like that come in navy blue. What is navy blue? Well, it says this very dark blue is made with indigo dye and became the official color of the British Royal Navy in 1748. That's why we call it, of course, navy blue. As it says, it's a very dark variety of blue. I find in the morning, if you don't open the curtains and you have a black t-shirt and a navy blue t-shirt, it's very hard to see which one is which because it is a very dark variety of blue. And what is indigo that they use to dye, to create the navy blue color?
Well, we see indigo is one of the richest and least expensive blue dyes. Now here, rich doesn't mean it's got money, it just means it's got a depth of color that's quite impressive.
Right.
It does a good job and it covers a lot and it's like a really deep blue. And it's the least expensive blue, one of the richest and least expensive blue dyes, and is used for fabric goods all over the world. So we talked about dyes yesterday and how dyes are often used on clothes, and we could just say fabrics. Fabric is cloth, it's cotton, it's other textiles.
Silk.
Yeah, the stuff that makes your clothes, the bed sheets, the covers of your furniture, all of that kind of stuff is fabric.
Exactly. Think of it like paper. You can do many things with paper, cut it, shape it, glue it, tape it, form it into things like origami, but it's made of paper. Fabric is what clothes are made of, but of course there are different types of fabric, and we cut them up, design the clothes, and then make them that way. And clothes would be described as a good. Now here, of course, we're not using good as an adjective, like that was a really good pizza. No, we're talking about goods, and it's almost always used as a plural noun. When we talk about goods in this way, again, it's not like good, it means a product, something that is traded and sold and shipped and put in stores. You pay money, you get the goods, you bring the goods home, those are your things. We can really call almost anything a good, but generally it's something that might be made in a factory, it might be sold in stores, and as I said, they're shipped and traded, bought and sold all around the world. For example, goods from all over the world come into Taiwan through the ports of Geelong and Kaohsiung, and those goods can range from running shoes to computers to cars to anything you can imagine. It's kind of a way of saying stuff that we buy and sell.
Okay.
Goods, it's stuff that we buy and sell.
So that's navy blue, a very dark one. Let's get some more different varieties of blue. The article says 2 other marvelous blue paints, cobalt blue and another one I'm probably going to mispronounce, cerulean?
Cerulean.
Okay.
Cobalt blue and cerulean. Yeah.
I got it right. Cerulean became popular with Western painters in the 19th and 20th centuries.
Oh, much later then. Interesting. These are more modern forms of blue. And of course, painters love to have a variety of color because it allows them to create more beautiful paintings.
So yesterday we had painting, which is the thing, and a painting is made by a painter, a person who paints. Now, this could be a professional painter who gets paid for their work, it's their job, but we could also call someone a painter if they just like to paint a lot. What's your hobby? Oh, I'm a painter in my spare time. We could also use it to describe somebody who actually goes in and like paints the walls of a house. They're not really creating what we'd think of as art, but they know exactly how to paint a wall or a ceiling or a room or a whole house in a way that's even and nice, and the paint doesn't look messy and they don't get it everywhere on the floor, and they do it quickly. So we call that kind of job a painter as well. But we often think of it more like the artists. For example, Jackson Pollock was an American painter who used a very unique style. So what have we got then? Cobalt blue and cerulean. Let's start with cobalt blue.
Okay, cobalt blue is it's another type of blue, of course. I think it's quite dark. It's like blue with gray or black in it, I believe, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
I am not a painter, I am not an artist, but it's actually been around a long time. Cobalt blue has been used for over 1,000 years, though, especially in China. Oh, so maybe the blue that we would see on those beautiful old vases and bowls and cups and stuff made in ancient China. But whatever, artists have liked this type of blue for a very long time.
People in China, painted ceramics and jewelry with it. We learned about ceramics yesterday, so yeah, you're probably right. Maybe this is that characteristic blue we kind of associate with kind of Chinese vases and things.
A nice dark blue, but not quite as dark maybe as navy blue or something like that. And then there was another type of blue. A Swiss dye maker created Prussian blue by accident around 1706. You're confused.
By accident?
No, by a Swiss guy calling his blue Prussian. Because that's a little weird. Switzerland, of course, is that country below Germany, above Italy. The adjective would be Swiss, so this dye maker was in or from Switzerland, but he made a blue and called it Prussian blue. Now, Prussia is kind of an older part of the world. I don't know if we use this name so much, but basically it's an area in what is now Germany or Poland. It's actually a bit more on the Poland-Russia side around the old city of Gdansk, or Danzig, as the Germans would have pronounced it. And maybe it was Prussian blue, because the Prussians back then were famous for their soldiers and their army. So maybe it was the blue they used in their soldiers' uniforms or something like that.
Yeah.
As I said, it's not an independent place now, but if you read about the history of Europe, Prussia was a very powerful part of Europe for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Okay, so this particular color was useful for lots of different things, not just art. The article says it became useful for blueprints and was used by artists like Katsushika Hokusai and Pablo Picasso. Hokusai is the one who did that great big wave poster, I think. Is that right?
Oh, that beautiful Japanese woodblock print, right, of the beautiful wave.
Yeah, and Picasso,
all blues.
of course, you will have heard of.
Sure, he loved blue so much he had a whole blue period. Right, I think he only painted mainly with blue for many years there. And of course, yes, we see blue in blueprint. This is what we call these documents, these things that architects use.
Right, a blueprint is a design plan. It's a technical drawing, and when we see them, people on site will be using them.
Right.
Because they are often negative copies of the original work, which was done in black and white by the architect or someone, but the copy, the blueprint, is done with white lines on blue paper, so it's a negative copy of the original.
Very interesting. Of course, they could make them almost any way today. They could print them out with computers in any color, but they still call them blueprints, and they often still use blue ink to make them. And says today it's also a medicine that remedies metal poisoning.
Wow.
Prussian blue?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that. And to remedy, here we're using it as a verb, is basically to cure. If you're sick with something, hopefully this medicine, I should say, will remedy your problem. We can also use it as a noun. The doctor will say, this medicine is the remedy for your problem, for your sickness or your disease. So it is the thing that fixes you, and to be fixed by a medicine or something like that, or even just to solve a problem that you might have, is to remedy that problem. Are you late for the train and you only have a few minutes to get to the train station? Well, I've got a car. I can remedy your situation. I can fix your problem. Get in my car, we'll get you there in 10 minutes. For example, my doctor says that these pills should remedy my skin problem. I hope so. And yes, if your problem is poisoning food or metal or any kind of poisoning, you definitely want to remedy that situation or that problem.
So, yeah, poisoning is the condition or a situation that's produced by a poison. So a poison is something, it may just be a natural chemical, it may be a metal, it may be something that's harmless until it gets inside your body, at which point it starts to make you sick, could kill you, could cause damage, that kind of thing. So a poisoning could be, if you say the patient has food poisoning, it means the patient has eaten something that's made them sick. If you say that man died, it was a poisoning, it means somebody gave him the poison.
Wow.
So there's poison in his blood and that's what killed him. So we could say, for example, remember when lots of people got sick after eating food made by that famous chef? People now think it was a poisoning.
You mean the police now think it was a poisoning?
Police now think it was a poisoning, yes. The chef's rival put poison in the chef's food to get at him and ruin his reputation.
It's true. We see a lot of poisonings and sort of murder mysteries and things like that, right? Killing someone with poison. Poisoning. I want to know about that story. That sounds like a great movie or something.
It does.
Anyway, back to the article. New blues, or new shades or hues, new types of blue, are still being encountered today. That's right. So if you think all blues in the world are boring, I don't like them. Don't worry, new blues are still being encountered today. When you encounter something, well, it could be something as simple as walking down the street and, hey, there's your friend. You encounter your friend as you walk down the street. It's kind of happens a little bit as a surprise. It's not something you planned or expected. You might encounter some problems as you go through your day, but maybe you'll have a really good day and you'll encounter some good luck. You know, problems come along, we don't expect them. Good luck comes along, we didn't plan for it. It just sort of happens. So, for example, you might be looking through a fashion magazine or something in a shop and you see this amazing color of blue and you're like, I've never seen a shirt with that kind of blue. You have encountered a new blue.
So there are new ones and we see the latest is, and I'm just going to guess at this one, Yinmin blue. It's probably only meant to be written down.
It's even spelled in a strange way.
Yeah.
I mean, the letters are a little interesting.
Yeah, well, you'll see it in our article anyway. But it's a bright pigment discovered in 2009.
Interesting.
A pigment, this is another word like hue or shade. It's a substance, but it's one that's used for coloring or painting.
Or dyeing,
Yeah, we would talk about something actually real with this pigment.
Right.
Or it's the color that's used to change something else.
Oh, okay.
Like a dark pigment was used for my shirt, or a reddish one for yours.
The chemicals in a rose that make it that special red, rose red color.
Yes, that
and
is.
of course, scientists then can take those pigments, make them with chemicals, and we can have lots of things made with rose color, but we don't need the actual rose. We have the pigment. Back to the article, Crayola, the famous well-known crayon company that make those types of sort of like pencils, but made of wax. They're something little kids often use for coloring. Crayola has even made it a crayon color. So if you go out and buy a brand new box of crayons these days, they might have an ultramarine in there, a navy, a cobalt blue, but they also might have this yin blue.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds lovely.
And the article concludes by saying, with all these vibrant blues out there, we have endless ways to show our love for everything blue. Now that sentence uses one of these with clauses, and these are used to explain the reason for the main clause. And they often give a situation or an action or explain something that's happened and say, this is this, and because of this, this is happening. That's how we do it. Like, with the rain getting heavier, the teacher stopped the PE class and told the students to go back inside. The with clause gives the reason for what happens in the main clause, and it just means the rain was getting heavier, so this happened. So with the rain getting heavier, this happened, they all went back in.
All right, and there we also talked about this word vibrant when describing colors, especially bright colors. Vibrant is a great adjective to use. It kind of means filled with life or filled with energy or something. If someone has a vibrant personality, they're very friendly and charismatic and chatty, and they're really good at making friends and having people be happy when they're around a vibrant person. In the same way, if it's a vibrant color, it's a very bright kind of that color, a very bright hue or shade or something like that. So you can have a pink that's quite dark or has a little gray mixed into it. But if it's a really bright pink where you want to put on sunglasses because, wow, that's a lot of pink, you might say that is a very vibrant pink color.
In fact, we say there are endless different types of blues and pinks and everything.
Absolutely.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Endless means that something is without end, but we use it casually to mean that something can't easily be counted or measured. Of course, we could go to like one of those Pantone charts or Google it and find exactly how many types of blue there are, but that's kind of annoying and pointless and boring, so we'll just say there are endless. There are a lot. It's not important.
Exactly. You'll never run out of blues, basically, yes.
Well, that brings us to the end of our article, so let's go to our For You Chat question.
For You Chat.
So our question is, what is your favorite color? Why do you like it? And what kinds of things are that color?
Wow, that's a tough question. Is it okay if I say I don't have a favorite color?
Sure. I mean, I've probably changed once or twice in my life.
If I think about the clothes, well, I have a lot of blue clothes, actually. Black, gray, some of these things, but I don't really have a favorite color. I guess I don't wear a lot of orange.
Or yellow, yes.
Yeah, I don't have a lot. I don't think I have anything that's orange, but it doesn't mean I don't like orange. Just for clothes, it's not my favorite. So if you looked at my cupboard, you'd probably say blue. But I like other colors too.
Yeah, I would have to say purple. I always go with, I do like purple as a color.
Very royal purple, right?
Yeah,
very royal color.
Purple is a color traditionally only worn by kings and emperors and that sort. It was another rare color.
Yes.
So only those rich, expensive, important people could get it.
But of course we have synthetic purples now, so everyone can be rich and fancy.
Why do you like it? I'm not sure. I think it just comes from childhood painting, a lot of models and things like that. There were just some really nice purples and I decided, red is pretty important to me. It's my football team's color. So a lot of red associations, but still purple remains my favorite.
Okay. Are you a fan of the LA Lakers?
I am
famous purple
now.
jerseys?
They won the Super Bowl.
No, that was basketball. That was the LA Rams. They're not purple.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. It's very confusing.
American
we'll
sports.
find a purple football team for you.
Excellent.
Don't worry.
All right. Well, that's all we've got time for. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't feel blue. We'll see you again next time.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Vocabulary Review.
Develop. Tim has developed a new type of book. The text can be changed in it. Variety. This model of car is available in many varieties, with different engines and colors to choose from. Goods. Lisa's company sells goods, such as clothes to stores in China. Painter. Michael is a painter who likes to paint pictures of people. Remedy. Grandma always said that this soup is great for remedying illnesses, and I agree. I always feel better after eating it. Poisoning. Jill got food poisoning after eating some fish that was too old.
智慧小补帖
Fabric. Blueprint. Encounter. Pigment. vibrant, endless.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作。活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net